today, but oh well, that's okay. It doesn't, I wouldn't do anything about that. We probably would need to have it up here, yeah.
Are we on?
I think we are on,
Okay.
so I don't see anything over here. Let me see. People will be coming on, I'm sure. There we go.
I haven't seen this YouTube setup before.
Oh, yeah, and so we don't have the camera actually facing us, so we can't really see ourselves because we're gonna be doing some tutorials later. Becky's
Here we
gonna be
are.
doing that. I guess we can see ourselves on here, so that's good. Nobody hanging out yet, but that's okay.
Except you moved the lathe.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So, Becky is with us.
Hello,
Becky,
good
Sue
morning.
is actually on the airplane right now and coming back home, but we've been really lucky to have Liz was with us last week. Well, and the first time we did when she was in Denver at the time, but yeah, Liz was here last year. We were doing that fun dying. And then Becky is here, and we always know that Becky comes with some great knowledge, and because she is one of our beginning knitting teachers, and she teaches a
Fix-it class.
Fix-it class. So yeah, so I'm always excited to see what you are going to bring us today. The other thing we're going to be talking about is a big knit along that we're going to kick off, but we are going to wait a little bit to talk about that. So I was just asking Becky, what are you watching on TV these days?
Well, I watched On the Basis of Sex, a movie about Ruth Bader Ginsburg from a couple years ago, and then I'm on season 3 of Bridgerton.
You might want to talk a little louder.
Okay.
Just our mic's a little farther away than usual.
Oh, okay. And
So Bridgerton.
Season 3 of Bridgerton.
Okay.
It's kind of a soap opera, but it's fun.
It kind of is,
Yeah,
right? I
it's
think
fun.
that's why the demise of soap operas is because now there's all the nighttime soaps, and maybe there's more people watching, I guess, at night. But I
Yeah.
mean,
When you watch it anytime, day or night.
what the thing I love about Bridgerton is just the outlandish
Yeah.
hair,
Costumes,
really.
the hair,
Right.
jewelry.
It's crazy.
The setting.
And it's a little bit unconventional,
Yeah.
so casting is really fun.
Right.
But so, which I love. I love that because I think sometimes you got to pick the right actor for the right
Right.
personality and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be honest. I've really seen more pictures of Bridgerton
Oh, okay.
than
Than actually watching
I
it.
started watching. I'm in season 1.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
so I have a long way to go.
You do. But it's kind of fun. Yeah. It's a good distraction at night.
I'm reading an interesting book. It's called When Women Were Dragons. I don't remember the author, but our friend Kathy Bauman recommended it to me,
Okay.
and it's sort of the author is a YA author normally, so she's kind of ventured into some more adult stuff, but it takes place in the 50s,
Okay.
and really, literally, the title is literal. That's what the movie's about. I mean, the show is
The
book is
book.
about. And now I'm wondering, will it be a movie? Because there's some
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of like, supernatural stuff. Obviously, that would be kind of cool
Yeah.
to see in a movie. So, When Women Were Dragons. So I'm reading that.
Okay.
So let's talk about what Miss Becky's wearing today, as far as like work in progress. But hers is a
Mine is
finished object.
as
That's
of
right.
last night.
This, if you haven't recognized it, is actually the Felix.
Felix
Yeah.
cardigan.
Yep.
Which there's a pattern
And
for it as a cardigan.
but what did you make it out of?
I made out of Kestrel.
Yeah, which is
This
sort
is
of an
Kestrel.
unconventional yarn for this project. I haven't seen it ever, honestly, but I think it's a great. I love it. Really shows off
Yeah,
that.
it does. Yeah, and I really like the way it fits. I
Now
like
you
the
haven't
sleeve length.
you haven't actually blocked it out yet, have you?
I have not. I just finished some
I know,
buttons on
and the
last
buttons
night.
on here are so cute, you guys. I can't do a close up, but I'll take a close up and I'll put it on our story. But it's they look like little Zauberball yarn balls, so
Right,
it's kind of
which I got
I
here.
know it's fun.
Yeah.
So I think
So I'm
you did a
very
great
happy
job.
with how this has turned out. I really like the sleeve length.
Did you have to
Yeah.
alter like any
No, I just
because you've already knit the Felix before?
I made it as a pullover.
Do you remember like needle size wise, if you had to really change that much?
Nope, I used, I think, size 10 needle, which is the yarn size needle, I got gauge. And,
Yeah,
so it was pretty easy,
I like it.
pretty straightforward. I really am happy with how it turned out. Very simple.
I am not wearing any finished objects.
Well, and I was gonna say, I made this in a different I used this yarn in a different pattern. That was a tank, but it was so heavy, I didn't really like it. So I ripped it
do
out a
remember
couple
it.
of years
It's like,
ago.
I feel like you wore it once.
I
and
did,
it
and
was
it was just like,
so
it grew, and it was narrowed and
So how
strapped.
much of this yarn do you have left from that
Um,
original project?
I had to add a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
I had to add a little bit more. A couple of, I don't know, 2 or 3 skeins more. I can't remember now. I'll figure it out what I added. But yeah, I did have to buy a little bit more. And thankfully, we still have this color.
I know, I love it,
Yeah.
love it. And we're gonna talk about some linen later on too.
Okay.
So I actually don't have any finished Ajan, but I do have kind of like, I'm supporting a local shop. There's a new shop just down the street. If you're from Billings, it's where Desmond's used to be, which was a men's store. And I'm still here. So anyway, it's called My Fair Lady, and I got the vest on the top there. So I thought it was kind of fun for summertime. So yeah. So let's talk about our works in progress. You want to do yours first?
Okay. This I am working on Color Explosion Throw, I believe,
Right. Yep.
from the Marl's book, the Modern Daily Knitting Marl's
Yep.
book. I made one 2 years ago as a gift to
Gosh,
give.
it feels so thick here, but it's gonna feel like this. Yeah.
Like this one.
Yeah. Here's.
So you make 4 of these panels and join them together, and you get a great throw,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
throw for the
So
couch.
this panel was made by Susan Germer. I don't know if she's ever gonna want this back, but we sure like having it in the store. So the Marls is one of the Modern Daily Knitting books, which we just got a restock of this. So, it uses felted tweed.
You do two skeins, and then you change one color at a time, each little section.
And I feel like they sort of set it up, I wanna say kinda like a Sudoku, sort of, like the way they've got, there's
Yeah.
some mathematical sequence
Well, I'm just
in
following
here.
what they're telling me. I'm just
Well, yeah,
assigning
and I
colors,
would
yeah.
too,
So
but
it's
I
pretty
do
easy,
feel
yeah.
like they set up some kind of
Yeah, I think they did.
mathematical sequence
Yeah.
for that.
They did.
So,
Well, I made it, gave away as a gift, and when I finished it and had it all together, I thought, I don't wanna give this away. I
so
wanna keep
I'm
it.
not sure how much of what we're showing you can see, because I had to move the camera back because this lady is so tall and I am so short. I probably should like stand on
Maybe.
like a stool, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a really great, if you're looking for a good blanket pattern, this is one, it's satisfying, it's fun because you get to change colors all the time. Don't you
And the
think?
pattern is super simple.
Yeah.
So once you know what you're doing, you're just kind of cruising along and you go, oh, a new color combination, what's that gonna look like?
Well, some people have sort of been following my little project, so
Right.
I'm making a sweater. It's called the Luminos. It's by Yamagara, and I just found out today that her first name is, I think it's Beatrice. I was just looking at, so
Closer.
I was trying to find some information on, like her from, luckily she has a knitting group on Ravelry, and she has like a whole test thread. So I kind of went through those to see if I really messed up. So, you start at the bottom, let me find my spot here. So I did a little steaming so it will lay a little bit better. My computer's on it here. So, this is pretty much it. It's like, I keep thinking, this is so wide, this is like way too wide, but in reality, this is like where my armpits are here. So, I think it'll be, we'll see. I hope it works out, okay. But I noticed that a lot of the people wearing them, they looked really cute, like with the front tuck. So,
Oh, okay.
we do have a few, I got a few little, oh, of course, right during the video. We've got a few samples of, what other, some different versions, basically, of how this pattern could look. So it's really just 2 fingering weights. It's really fun. You just use a solid and then you use a multi. I'm using Circus Tonic, hedgehog fibers for the stripes. So kind of the way it works is, you do the little wedge, and then you're going to knit them all together, but now I'm split for the sleeves. So I'm really only working on the front part right now, and then when I, get about to here, I guess, then I'll work on the back. And there's like different sequences of stripes, and I already messed up, so. Because there's different sizes, there's different size, instructions. So sizes 1 through what does this, and then sizes this through that does that. And there was a lot of the first part, and so I kind of got a little bit mixed up on where I was, but I think I missed the mark by 1 inch, so
Oh.
I think I will live. So anyway, I do think this is gonna be really pretty, and
Kind of
this
fun
is
to
a
learn
great
anything.
way for, your stash, like if you have that one stripy sock yarn that you're not really sure, or not stripy, but just the beautiful multicolored that you couldn't live without. I think if you match it up with,
Solid.
with a solid or something contrasty, that's really gonna be pretty, so I'm plugging away on that, so. There you go. Yeah, that's my color. Hard to see, but it's a hedgehog color, so that's what's up. So, we wanted to, we started getting a yarn called a Dando Silk Plus. So Dando is, it's Yumiko Alexander. This is Silk Plus, it's like a fingering weight silk and cotton. So we do have this, but she also has another yarn called linen, and that's just what it is. And we had a sample, I worked up a swatch, and I actually worked this up because I wanted to see how it worked with the Deshane. And actually, it's perfect, like this is perfect.
Seems like linen is great.
It's so soft, it's really wonderful. And then I watched a Fiberside chat with Yumiko Alexander, and cause I kind of been waffling about, telling Sue, I don't know, she kind of wanted it, I'm like, I don't know yet. So
Show this
anyway,
a little closer.
she is starting a knit along, and I got so excited. I've ordered the yarn, it's coming, I'm sure it will be here this week. It's for her sweater. Here, you wanna put this up there? It's called Joinery. And so that is with this new linen. It's a worsted weight. It's really fun. You can pick a couple colors to put it together with. She has another little version of that with the lighter color. So I just think this is so fun, and what a fun summer sweater it would be. It's knit on a size 9 needle. It's gonna go fast. It's got some interesting technique. Now, one thing she said, she doesn't do a lot of she doesn't do a lot of shaping. And the reason is because linen yarns and silk have so much drape that your body just naturally does the shaping for it. So I just thought this would be really fun. Now, I understand not everybody might want to do this. I think this is really fun. I'm going to cast on for this even while I'm doing the other one. But she has a few other patterns. Hey, you want to pop those over there now that you're into that? So a couple other patterns that she has that you might find interesting. That one is called White Caps, and that actually uses the Silk Plus that we have in the shop right now. So I think that could be really fun. I think that's gorgeous. That one, what's that one called? Does it have on the back?
Plum.
Oh, I don't remember that one, but
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. But
Okay.
this one's really fun, and it has a lot of that little detailing kind of in the corner. She does that lace work. So that one I think is the linen yarn. So I think she's got
Okay.
some great summer options, but I do think that I think most people would just love she's got a lot of,
They seem very wearable.
they are, and she's got a lot of mods. So you can make them wide
Modifications.
and short, or you can make them taller and more narrow. So depending on how you want to wear it, or like on this one, you maybe don't have to, be doing the long sleeves. You could do a short sleeves. It was really interesting to hear her talk about her like design process, because she is from Japan. she was designing there too, and she was using wools and things like that, but then she got married and she moved to Arizona.
Oh.
And she realized that probably the wools weren't gonna work for her, and she ended up designing her own yarns.
Okay.
And so that's how all of these yarns came about. She has 3, there's this one, there's the linen, and then there's a one called Cotton Fine, which we haven't gotten yet, but you never know about that. And she had some really great tips on, how to care for it, and I'd be happy to share those, if you decide to, do these. So, there's no cost involved really, as far as, a lot of our knit-alongs, but also it's part of the shirties. Like, you would be able to probably get this done
Yeah,
before
size 9.
July 31st. I think this would totally
Totally.
get done. So
Yeah.
I'm just formally inviting you to join the knit-along for the Dando Joinery. So join the joinery. So
And this
we're
one's
happy to
called
have
joinery.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, and
This
that
one is the
yarn
joinery.
should be here, I'm thinking by Friday, so.
Okay.
So surprise, Sue, we're doing a knit-along.
It'll be fun.
The other thing that we have in the shop is lots of rainbow yarn. Our staff member Liz, she designed and dyed these 2 yarns that she has. One she calls the Ruckus Rainbow, and this one is Moody Hues. So if you're into rainbows, and a lot of people tend to be
Bright
in
colors.
June, it'd be a great yarn. We have the yarn Pride from Round Mountain. I've got quite a bit of that. I've got some more coming actually. And then this one from Western Sky Knits is called Bright Spot Bright. So it's kind of a fun way. It's got that little pop, so it'd be great for like any of that assigned pooling or planned pooling. Yeah, great sock yarn. And of course Noro, the original rainbow yarn company. This one's just Ito. It's the giant skein, so that
Number
would be really.
54,
Yep.
color-wise.
Yeah, I mean it does have a name, but I never use
Oh.
it.
Trying to
And
pronounce.
then a class that we're doing. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ripping through this. It's always a little bit different when we have a different program
Right.
here. But
We're trying to demo some
we're
stuff.
doing a little class with our friend Rose with these little s'mores. Here, put that in the camera. They're so
Very
cute.
cute. Crochet.
So that those are just so cute, and it's actually you should know how to crochet. You already should know that. It's not a learn to crochet class, but it's a first project into the amigurumi. So she said you could totally get the pieces done.
Amigurumi is all the little figurines?
Yes, it's Japanese for toys.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they're pretty cute. So sign up for that. All right, so like the big ta-da today is Becky. She's gonna do some tutorials. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit so we can have her.
It's an
have her
experiment to
all
see how
well
this
up.
goes.
Yeah, so let us begin.
Alright.
So, whoops. I'm gonna bring the camera over here to Miss Becky.
And Linda asked me to demo some things, so I thought, okay, this is a new thing I'm doing that I've learned from Patty Lyon on how
Okay.
to do the SSK.
So
Slip,
a
slip, knit.
new SSK. So normally show us a normal SSK.
Right. Okay, let me do a couple stitches just to get in here. And normally you do slip,
Slip.
go in the front, and knit. And I've done
Right.
that for years and said slip, slip, knit. So Patty Lyon's got a lot of
Okay.
stuff out there.
All
So
right,
the new
so-
way is catch it, a zip to knit for your
Well, wait.
first one.
Why are we gonna do it a different way?
Well, it's a little quicker, faster, and it lays smoother and
Okay.
flatter. I
All right.
found.
Okay. Let's see what
So
you're gonna
you
slip.
Catch it as if you're knitting.
Right, but
Go in the back
before.
one,
Okay.
and then you just knit them together. Let me knit another one.
Yeah. Do one more.
And we can look at the two of them. So it does tend to lay a little flatter and is more invisible. So if you want it to,
I do. Yeah, I see that. Do
Okay,
it.
I'll
Do
do
one
one
more
more.
time. Because it is. You
Okay.
kind of don't really.
okay,
You
so
move right to the back right away.
and then you go right to the back and catch it in the back.
Okay.
And then you're gonna knit the whole thing.
Okay. I've done like where you slip as if to purl,
Slip as
slip
if
as
to
to
knit.
knit, and
Yes,
then
I've
put
tried
those
that too.
together. But
I've done
yeah,
that
that
too.
one is really good. Okay, yeah, I can totally see the difference.
Yeah. This
Okay.
was the original one. It kind of lays on top more.
Uh-huh.
And this just is a little smoother and flatter. So just
Awesome.
kind of a different thing to play with. Okay, the other thing, people always get panicked about dropping stitches. So I just thought I'd show a couple of quick,
Some good drop stitch.
I mean, it's pretty basic and you maybe already all know this. But, you know, if you have a crochet
Somebody
hook
will
handy,
learn it, I'm sure, from here. So those
if you
little
have a
hooks are
crochet
pretty
hook,
handy.
I like
Okay.
to teach both techniques. I'm going to show you another way too because everybody's different. So you figure out where the lowest rung of your ladder is, and then you pull them through. If you're not familiar with a crochet hook, you can use your fingers to lift it over. And then when you get to the top, you're going to put it on the needle that does not have the working yarn. And on it goes, ready to go.
Okay.
Make sure you've got it mounted correctly. Don't get it backwards. Okay, if you do not
Here,
have
go
a
back.
crochet hook.
Okay, when
okay.
you finish that, talk about the backward
Okay, I
stitch.
will.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't have a crochet hook, the other way you can do it is you go into the front of that stitch just like you did with the crochet hook. Find the lowest rung, same thing. They're sitting there together. Now you do like a bind off.
Yeah, I probably do mine more like that.
Some people prefer this way. Some people like the other way.
So,
Sometimes yarn's slipperier.
question from me, and so I've noticed, like if I'm working on the purl side,
It's harder.
it's harder. So I will turn to the knit side
And that's
to
what
do
I
it.
teach.
Okay.
It's too confusing to try and do both.
Okay.
So just flip it around so you've got the knit side facing you. So then when you go to put it on the needle, if you go into the front of a stitch, it will mount it the correct way. The wrong way is when the back leg is leading.
Okay.
So to fix that,
But couldn't you just knit? You can
you can
knit
knit
into the back
leg.
of the stitch,
You can-
right? And
you
that will
can do that,
automatically fix
or you
it.
can flip it around.
I've come across some knitters lately that are wrapping their pearls
The wrong way, which
but
puts-
then they end up fixing it on the knit side.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of people do that, or that
Okay.
that's not that uncommon. Okay, so the other thing I
Okay.
was going to talk about is sometimes I don't know, I make a lot of mistakes.
Yep.
So I find sometimes I have to rip out 2 or 3 or 4 rows.
well, that doesn't work. Okay. We'll just stick with your hands here.
So occasionally I've been like, I have to rip this out and I don't want to do it 1 row at a time. So I'll rip out
Oh.
2 rows at the same time.
2 at the same time, but then could you apply that to just about any amount of rows? Technically,
yes, you can.
right?
I've done 4 once. I don't recommend.
So
I'm doing
instead
4.
of dropping one,
Normally, if I was
okay,
going to if I have to undo a row, you kind of go in here.
okay,
But I
right.
like to flip it around backwards because it's easier for me.
I have found that too. Hey, Walter.
Okay, so I'm going to I'm just going to undo this. So now I've got the first stitch. I'll deal with that later. So I've got, normally I would go in here, that's undoing 1 row.
Right.
But I'm going to go in 1 below.
One, oh, wow,
And
okay,
then take that one out and that one
Oh.
out.
okay.
Now it's a little more straightforward of what to see here.
Uh-huh,
So
okay,
I've got 2 that I'm undoing. So I've gone in,
Okay.
instead of the top one like normal,
right,
going 1 below,
okay,
pulling
just
them both out.
keep doing that. That's cool. Because then you're gonna have like 2 strands
Yes.
in the back of your piece.
Until you get to the end and then they both free
They'll
up.
oh, wow. That really speeds up a process that I actually, in my project I'm working on,
Have you never done this?
no, I haven't. But I can see that I thought about ripping back what I was working on my little sweater
Uh-huh.
because I know I messed up a little bit, but of course I'm going to push forward. I don't want to waste those stitches.
Right.
But this is a lot better. You're not wasting time taking out. Yeah.
So even, yeah,
Huh, what a great idea.
So
All right,
anyway,
you're almost there,
I
aren't you?
am almost there. 2 at a time. Oh, that one popped out a little bit before I got it on the needle.
Okay, so one more. There it
Yeah, just
is.
drop it
Oh,
right
wow. Okay,
back on
much
there.
faster.
Much faster.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I'm gonna pull this off the needle.
Okay.
Let's say you had to rip out more than a couple of rows.
Okay.
That's the other unwanted
By the way,
scenario.
Becky got her nails done yesterday, just
Because
for
I was
this.
doing this. did. Okay, so
Okay, and
If
what
I
are,
have
what
to-
are we doing here?
if I have to rip out many rows, what I like to do is rip out to the row above the one that I need to put back on the needle.
Okay,
So then, if you've ever tried catching those live stitches on top, they disappear, they vanish, you get a big mess at the end. So, I found that if I rip out to the row above where I want,
okay,
then I undo the first couple of stitches
Right.
and put those on the needle, and then I unknit it as I put it back on.
I was actually watching Becky do it, and so I moved my camera. I apologize. So
I-
kind of in the back
sort
of
of similar
that.
to undoing the row.
Right.
And just an FYI, if you go into the front of a stitch, it will always put it on the needle the correct way. So this was a knit stitch, so I'm technically going into the front of it, even though I'm working this
Oh,
direction.
okay.
Because going into the front always mounts it with the
But
right
if you
way of
go
weaving.
in the other
If I went
way,
in this way, I'd be putting it on backwards.
right, which I do that because,
Then you can fix it later.
yeah, I feel like it's a lot faster.
Well,
But
it's
for
probably what you're
me,
used to.
yeah, right.
And if you go, like that one I'm putting on there wrong, just because it's easier to get it on.
Uh-huh.
And then I've undone it. So I put it back on the needles that way.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully those are
those
some
are
little things that maybe you knew it already, maybe you didn't. Maybe you knew how to do that already, or maybe you didn't. I don't know.
let's see if I can get you back in view here. There you are. Okay, well, that was pretty fun.
So if you have any other ideas of things you're wondering about,
Yeah, and yeah,
If
let us
that
know.
worked,
We can
you
invite
could
Becky
see.
back, but maybe we should be scheduling a fix-it class
Oh,
because
yeah.
if that didn't make any sense to you,
Good point.
she'll make sense of it later.
Yeah, the fix-it
So-
class is kind of fun. It's just 2 hours, meets one time, and I like teaching it because people are like, oh, I didn't know that's, oh, that was easy. A lot of light bulb moments, and it's
I
kind of fun.
call it the F-up class.
Yeah. Beyond basics.
Yeah, cause that,
Yeah.
I've talked to so many people, they're like, I just rip out. I'll start again. I'll start the whole project again.
And that's so defeating. It's like, you don't have to go back to square one.
Right.
Nobody wants to go back to square one.
I know there's some great videos out there like how to fix lace, like pinned out though, like they do.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think is very intriguing, but
Right.
I don't really do lace too often, so
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen those too, and I've redone some lace things. It is a challenge.
yeah.
It is kind
Yeah.
of fun to try and figure it out. I've been mixed success on doing that personally.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So
I figure it out, sometimes.
well, thank you, Becky.
Okay.
I always appreciate your view on things and how different ways to fix things.
Well, it's so nice to have a community. Like, I love it when people come in and they're like, I'm stuck, I don't know, I'm lost, whatever. It's kind of nice to be able to have that support of figuring stuff out.
I know, and I tell everybody that comes in, do not feel like you're out there on your own, I mean, yeah, maybe a friend is teaching you, but for a fact she is not gonna wanna teach you like at midnight. But, so if that
Well-
happens, you need to go to bed. But,
Yeah.
come back and see us. Any of us will be happy to help you, so.
Get back on track.
Yeah, okay, so you need to keep talking for just a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Well, I'm gonna go back to the camera because I think we're done, so, next week Sue will be back,
Mhm.
and hopefully we'll have our new yarn here that we can talk about our fun
Yeah.
new project.
Yeah, so when I learned to knit, there was no YouTube. Try to teach yourself knitting out of a book. It's not super easy. Some of the stuff
I
is just-
totally did that.
Yeah.
Yep, I totally did. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.